Junk journaling really doesn't have to be that complicated. I'm going to make a quick spread that is just simple and to the point using very limited supplies. So I have some scissors, I have my favorite adhesive by Tombow, and I just grabbed 3 pieces of scrapbooking paper from my stash. These papers are at least 10 years old. I've just been holding on to them in case the need ever arose to use them, and I grabbed a couple of scraps of brown cardstock, and I'm going to play with a couple of dictionary pages that I pulled out of a dictionary that was falling apart that I picked up at Goodwill. That the cover was ripped, there was some water damage, but I figured I could recycle some of the pages in order to create something new out of what would otherwise be trash. So to make this as simple as possible, and this journal is getting quite thick, so I have to be mindful of that as I adhere the pages. What I'm going to do is start with this first piece, and I'm going to quickly trim off the top. Normally, this part is perforated on a lot of paper packs, but in this case it's not. So I'm just going to quickly trim that, and I can see if I can trim off some of these scraps for the spread. I'm going to just, let's see, I'm going to rotate it like this because I want some of this texture here at the bottom. And I'm just going to adhere this right in the middle, so there's white space on either side, and I will take care of that in just a moment. So a little bit of adhesive here and there, and I found that with junk journaling, roller adhesive is great. I also really like liquid glue. It really doesn't take much. This is my favorite liquid glue, but I'm going to just use this tape runner for today, and I'm going to just stick this in the middle and try to be mindful of where the binding is. There's going to be a little bit of excess at the top that I can just quickly trim, and because this journal is so thick, I'm just going to fold it like this. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and trim off the excess. And I'm not really worried about perfectly straight lines. That's not the point of this junk journal. It's supposed to be messy, and it scratches the scrapbooking itch without being too involved. But now I have my base. What I'm going to do now is, I really liked this paper. I liked the birds on one side and the girl on the other, but I'm just going to rip this in half. And those are going to become my sides. Easy as that. So I want to make sure these birds don't get cropped. So I'm going to scoop this down, and I'll have a little bit to cut off on both the top and the bottom. And I'm going to just do my adhesive directly on the page. I can get my runner started. There we go. Okay, so that's side one. Just gonna get it lined up where I want it, and that looks good. So I'll adhere that down. And then I'm going to do the same for this side. So because the girl's at the bottom, I'm gonna just line her up in the corner, and then I'll just trim the excess off of the top. when you're doing this, like I said, be sure to save all of your little scraps. I'll do the same thing over here, just trimming this piece off of the top. Okay, so that is the start of the spread. Now I just want to add a little bit of content to the spread so it's not just purely decorative. So that's where these dictionary pages are going to come in. So I pulled one that has poetry on it, and I pulled another that has create, creation, creative, all of that. So I'm going to just trim off the create and creation. We'll start there, and just so I don't accidentally trim off any of the words that I need, I'm gonna start trimming the page there. And I think what I'm going to do is just cut these into small little strips. So there's the first one. I'll do creation as well. And then I'll also cut out creative. Okay, so I have my 3 words. Now I just need to figure out how I want to adhere them to the spread. So I have a few materials left. I have the scraps from the top of the papers. I have this polka dotted piece, and I have these 2 scraps of brown cardstock, and I'm thinking that this brown is a little harsh, maybe a bit too harsh for what I'm going for. So I think I'm going to put that to the side for now. And I think some of these might actually look better just being directly glued onto the page itself. So I think what I will do is just play around with the placement of these. Maybe I'll do all of these on one side like this, just offset them some. And then on this side, what I can do is create space for some journaling. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere the definitions down using my tape runner. And the fun part of junk journaling is none of this is pre-planned. You just go with the flow and see how much mileage you can get out of the supplies that are in front of you, which makes this such a fun process. So I'll do this one here so it hangs off a little bit. And then all right, so I'm going to call that side done for now. And so I want just a little area for some journaling. So what I could do here is I could add some kind of journaling card space. I could use some of these scraps as a kind of fake washi tape. I think I might do that. So I'm just going to clean up this line. I'll just cut it here so it just looks like faux washi tape. Let's see, I can also add a strip from the other side. This one I'll let be a little thicker, and I'll just do one on the side, one on the side. I do think the brown is quite dark, especially when I'm trying to anticipate how I'll be writing on it. So what I can do is use this scrap and just clean this up a little bit. This is one of the ends that I cut off, and I can just add that there to the middle, and now I have something that I can write a little bit on that will stand out, so I don't have to use a white gel pen or a metallic marker or anything like that to help it stand out. So let me adhere all of this quickly. So this piece just gets flipped over. And that's it. That is a junk journaling spread using 2 pieces of scrapbooking paper, a page from a dictionary, and a scrap of solid cardstock.